Hello and welcome everybody. My name's Rose Smith from AbsoluteSoulSecrets.com. Thanks for joining me today. I've got the January 2023 horoscopes. Okay, I'm just going to put on a little video so you don't have to watch me all the time. It's a bit more interesting. The stars impel, they do not compel. And don't forget to check out your Sun, Moon and Ascendant videos. Okay, so this is the January 2023 planetary overview. It's a new year beginning, and for many people this first month sets a bit of a template beginning both the year and the month of January. But all star signs have a very intuitive aspect called the eagle eye pattern. And this involves Saturn, Neptune and Mercury, where the energy of Neptune and Mercury are directed towards the focal point Saturn, adding extra potency to the house where Saturn resides, and the energies of these three planets blend together. So it'll have different effects in different houses and obviously for different star signs. So you can look at your individual star sign to find out what that means for you. We also start the year with the moon's nodes, Mercury, Mars and Uranus all retrograde. And this could indicate a slow start to the year, but that's okay. The energy gradually ramps up over January when Mercury turns direct on the 18th, Mars turns direct on the 12th and Uranus turns direct on the 23rd. There is a shadow period after those dates, which is different for each planet, but to give you an idea, the shadow for Mercury might last somewhere around a week to 10 days where the energy is gradually going off. So it's not a switch that just turns off instantly. The energy ramps down after it turns direct. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate that. There's timestamps below telling you at what point your star sign appears in this video. And if you're new here, please subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell below. Here are the major planetary movements, and your star signs are after this. So on the 2nd of January, Venus enters Aquarius. On the 6th of January, there's a full moon in Cancer at 16 degrees and 22 minutes. On the 12th of January, Mars is direct at 8 Gemini and 8 minutes. On the 18th of January, Mercury turns direct at 8 Capricorn and 8 minutes. On the 20th of January, the Sun enters Aquarius. On the 21st of January, there's a new moon in Aquarius at 1 degree and 33 minutes. On the 22nd of January, Uranus is direct at 14 degrees and 57 minutes in Taurus. And on the 26th of January, Venus enters Pisces. Okay, so fast forward now, click the timestamps below for your star signs. Thank you. Hello and welcome everybody, it's Rose Smith here from AbsoluteSoulSecrets.com. I've got the awesome Aries January 23 horoscope for you. Okay, your ruler, Mars, is retrograde at the beginning of January, but never fear, it is turning direct soon afterwards. So we sort of start the month off a little bit slow. We've got a number of planets actually retrograde and the nodes as well. But as the month proceeds, more and more energy gets into the system. But first, let's draw some tarot cards as theme cards for the month for you. You can take the first card as the first half of the month if you like. Let's see what comes out. That one there. Okay, King of Swords. This is all about analytical thinking. It really is time to consider your options and think logically about things. Some people don't like this card, but it has a very useful place sometimes in our lives, and it is about pure logic. These are typically people like lawyers or maybe accountants. They just want to know the numbers, okay? It's important to run any decision through a human heart, so that's where this energy tends to fall down a bit. But if you take this and add a bit of compassion, you're on the right track basically. He's got this sword here for cutting through all the dross and getting right to the core of the matter, okay? Seated on a diamond with a diamond at the back. That suggests he's been through quite a fair bit in his life. There's a lot of experience here, and he just wants to get to the core of the issue quickly. Okay, so if you've picked this card, you might find some situation where you have to do that, or maybe you're dealing with people like this in some sort of professional capacity. Sometimes there's some clouds in the background which could be worries, and that's why we have to employ this energy sometimes. But I don't think it's a bad energy at all. It just needs a little bit of management, that's all. Okay, so the next one is the second half of the month, and I'll close my eyes now. What do I get for awesome Aries? Okay, so blue sky, these clouds, these worries are actually blowing away in the second half of the month. Things become clearer, you get more clarity, there's some blue sky under there. The card that comes out is the star, which is all about your hopes and dreams. So this is fabulous. She has the subconscious waters here. And you can see Venus going into your 12th house and Neptune. So a very spiritual vibe, sending her hopes and dreams out into the universe. You know, upstairs here's everything we think, everything we feel, they feel. So they're intimately clued into what's going on with us. And I just looked at that. I thought that was butterflies, but it's not. But I looked at that. There's some marks there on the card. I thought it was butterflies. So new life, that means. This green and blue, of course, aqua, fabulous colour in the middle of the chest and above the heart. So this is about bringing the things that you love, or the people that you love, and bringing them into creation in some way. Okay, creating more love in your life. Fabulous. Okay, so that's that. Let's make this bigger now so we can see what is going on, and bear these two cards in mind, because often I just realised King of Swords is all about the head. I just chopped his head off. I don't know, that's probably not a good idea. So let's just move that down there like that. Yeah. Okay. Alrighty, so Aries. Now we have this great little pattern starting the month off called the Eagle Eye. And this involves Saturn, Neptune and Mercury. It's all about improving your intuition, giving you insight and awareness. Hence this card here. There's a lot of insight that will come from this card. And Saturn is what's called the focal point here. And there could be something going on with your friends, groups or connections, or maybe even your hopes and dreams, because this card here is about future hopes and dreams. And in some way they've been restricted in, for some reason, or limited, or Saturn is very conservative and doesn't want to do things sort of over the top or radically. But now we have the energy of Mercury and Neptune adding to Saturn. Okay, so this is not pure Saturn anymore. This is bringing a very spiritual vibe and a very communicative vibe in. Now, bearing in mind that Mercury is retrograde at the beginning of January, and so, there's a lot of energy internally, maybe in your thoughts or your feelings about wanting to communicate something, but feeling uncertain or not sure what to do. So it's likely, if you stay open to upstairs and imagine that your crown chakra is opening up, you'll get some insight or awareness into a situation involving a friend, group, or maybe some connections, or your hopes and dreams. You're going to see the answer far more clearly. Now, your ruler is retrograde until the 12th, as I mentioned before here, in your communications zone. So that fits in perfectly with this eagle eye pattern, which is sort of not at its full energy at the beginning of the month with the retrograding Mercury. But then when Mars goes direct, and Mercury will turn direct on the 18th, and Uranus is also retrograde, that turns direct on the 23rd. Very gradually, more and more energy is going to come into your life to do things. More communications here, more ideas. Maybe you're thinking about promoting or marketing some idea, or perhaps about study, or there's more goings on in your local area where you live, your neighbourhood. Maybe you have more to do with your neighbours as well, or some sort of local event. So after the 12th, then it turns direct. There is a bit of a shadow period though, so it's a gradual process. It's not actually like a switch off and on. You'll see all these R's around. These are the retrogrades, so both nodes are retrograde, Mercury, Mars and Uranus. So very gradually, more and more energy coming into the system. The moon is full in Cancer on the 6th. Here in your 4th house of home and family. So this brings a bit of a turbulent sort of energy, or maybe your privacy is more important and you just want to be quiet and be at home with, in your own environs without too much sort of carry on. I think pretty well for the first half of January. There's more of a feeling of, or more of an energy for being quiet, rather than gallivanting around the world or around too much, okay? But after that, then it ramps up a little bit. Venus does move into Aquarius on the 2nd of January here, okay? Where are we? Here. So it's in Aquarius, and then it moves forward. And this is going to... bring a lovely sort of polite, beneficial, elegant, beautiful vibe into your relationships with your friends, groups and connections, and also your hopes and dreams. You might be thinking about romance or love as well, because Venus does love, or you do have a lot happening here also in your 2nd house of finances. Venus also looks after finances, so you could be thinking about either love or money particularly. And then it will be moving into Pisces on the 26th here, into the house of the subconscious. Sometimes with this, you may help people, particularly those that are in some sort of formalised setting like a hospital or some sort of institution. It can also mean that somebody is on the scene in your mind, but they're not actually completely available to you in some way. You might have an emotional attachment to somebody, but they're not available to you to be able to culminate that relationship. And so you have to be particularly careful, and a lot of discretion is called for. It can also bring beautiful dreams. You could imagine that you're in beautiful locations, or there's beautiful people around you, or beautiful relationships in your dreams, and things like that. The Sun is going into Aquarius on the 20th of January here, bringing insight and awareness to your friendships as well, or your connections, and also your hopes and dreams. So that fits in here when the insight and awareness comes in the 2nd half of the month. See how this card is saying virtually the same thing. We have the new moon in Aquarius on the 21st as well, adding extra energy of new beginnings. It's like some energy comes in to do with friends and connections, especially new friends and connections you could meet, and see where that goes. And that's it. So it's looking like a pretty powerful month for you, and very beneficial overall. You just have to be patient, and when Venus moves into your 1st house in maybe a month or so, then that will be, better for your relationships with other people and how you present yourself to the world and that sort of thing. Alrighty, so thank you so much for watching today. I really appreciate that. And if you're new, subscribe and be alive and hit that notification bell right now. Have a wonderful month, everyone, and Happy New Year to all. Thanks and bye for now. Hello, terrific Taurus. Well, we're starting the year. Your ruling planet Venus is actually jumping across a couple of houses this month. So that's going to bring love and light and beauty into various areas of your life this month, which is fabulous. So you'll enjoy that. There is a lot happening. So let's get on and get to the board. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to draw 2 cards for you, the first and the second half of the month, if you like, or read them both together. Terrific Taurus for January 2023. I see on this first card like a ladder in front of me, and it's almost like I'm underneath the ladder, so I hope that's not bad luck for me, but it's like I'm looking up and I'm looking through the ladder to a higher ceiling, so to speak. So I think that's you breaking through a ceiling, like a glass ceiling, and looking up, looking where you're going to go as well. So there's a bit of effort involved, and you need to be a little bit cautious that you don't push yourself too much, and that there's no, you don't give yourself a headache by pushing too hard. Okay, let's see what card we get. The 7 of Cups. Okay, this is an interesting card because it depends on how you look at it. Sometimes it's like searching or striving or really going after success and attainment, which isn't a bad thing, providing that you don't go too far. The other thing with it, see all these clouds in the background, it can bring worries if you're pushing yourself too hard, or it's like you have an idea in mind, but it's not really that well in touch with reality. It's like it's not grounded in practical reality. So your imagination can be great, but that's great for creative pursuits, if you've got to do anything creative. The other thing, sometimes you're saying no, and so I think this card is basically, it is about your emotions, but it's time to say no, not to overdo things, not to go too far with things. And there's lots of areas of your life, and as I mentioned before, Venus is jumping from the 9th to the 10th to the 11th house, so across 3 houses, and that can be a bit stressful in changing your thoughts, and things like that. But yeah, even with this card, Venus can make a purse out of a sow's ear. So take a situation that may be difficult and actually make it better, and more beautiful and more polite and more gracious. The second half of the month, terrific Taurus. Let's see what I see. What's this they're handing you? It's a scroll, but it's a bit like a graduation scroll. So it's like graduating from a course, finishing something major and being rewarded or awarded, given some accolade, given some approval. You've done something and people appreciate what you've done and they recognize you for it. And that actually fits with all of this activity in the public area at the top of your chart, okay? It's like the public sees you and they see how much work or effort that you've put, or time that you've put into something. All right, let's see what the cards say. Okay, so news coming about your money, your possessions, or perhaps your values, the things that you think are important, including your deservability, how much you think you deserve. We don't have all of the information on this because there's a lot of black. We do have some. She's aware, she's got some insight, some awareness, and there's action to be taken. See all this red here. So your focus could turn to your finances, and you'll see that we've got Mars here in your house of personal finances, which is retrograde. So I'll talk about that, but it will be turning direct. So I'll talk about that. Okay, there are your 2 cards. So take note of them because they're going to feature this month for you. I'm just going to make this a bit bigger. It makes it easier to see. Okay, so here's your horoscope. Now the first thing to note is this nice little green triangle here. Technically it's two semi-sextiles and a sextile, so 30 degrees, 30 degrees and 60 degrees. And it's called the eagle eye pattern. So this is great because it brings you extra insight and awareness. It brings some sort of intuition, and the focal point has been Saturn here in your 10th house of career or perhaps reputation. But I did see that accolade being given to you publicly. So that could be that some restriction around your career or your reputation is softened. And maybe, you know, if you're here on YouTube, for example, you know, getting views is just ridiculous, the algorithm. Don't ask me how it works, I don't know. But there's some sort of public acknowledgement going on there. And the energies of Mercury, which is retrograde, I'll come to that, and also Neptune are combining to help you spiritually in your goals, your professional goals or your reputational goals. Sometimes this is even to do with an authority figure, someone that you look up to, like a parent. There could be a softening there in the relationship or some sort of appreciation for you as well. Okay, so I mentioned before your rule of Venus here in the 9th house in Capricorn, doing very physical things to expand your life, is moving into Aquarius, and this is on the 2nd of January, and it will stay there for a few weeks, and then it's going to move into Pisces in your 11th house of hopes and dreams and friends, groups and connections. So Venus here in the 10th house brings a beautiful, soft, flowing, connected type of energy, which brings beauty and graciousness to your career or your reputation. And then when it moves over here into the 11th house, it can be quite a spiritual sort of vibe, also bringing beauty and graciousness to your friendships or your hopes and dreams. And maybe you could be feeling quite creative and want to create things as well, because Venus does really appreciate beauty, you know, but it's not just physical beauty, it's the beauty of the person within as well. Now, I did allude to these retrograding planets. At the beginning of the month, we have both the nodes, of course, because they run together. We have Mercury, and we have Uranus, and we have Mars, all retrograde. And so this is going to, you know, give us a bit of a slow start to January. But Mercury turns direct on the 18th. Mars turns direct on the 12th, and Uranus on the 23rd. Then there's a bit of a shadow period for some time after that, but it means that the energy is changing. It changes gradually. It's not like a switch being turned off and on. There's a gradual improvement as those planets move forward. You get more energy to achieve. So in the case of Mercury, this is going to mean that the energies around communications and ideas about how to grow your life, how to expand your horizons, anything to do with other countries and other people and foreign cultures, or perhaps study, philosophy, spirituality, they're going to take off, you know, and you've got so much energy going on there as well. So, you know, you might have a couple of weeks where you feel a bit unmotivated. Just have a couple. It's a great time for a holiday after Christmas, New Year. It's a great time just to chill, relax a bit, and then gradually the energy starts coming back to you. Uranus here, when it turns direct on the 23rd in your sign, this is pretty meaningful, because it could bring surprises, It could bring some sort of volatility in the way that you present yourself to the world, your perception of the world. Like you're out, it's like you're inside, but you're looking out, and your focus is turning outwards. And there could be some change in that, whereas you might have had core beliefs in the past, and now you're changing your mind about a few things. Mars in your second house here, when it turns direct on the 12th, it's going to give you more energy to go out there and make more money, or perhaps buy new possessions, especially big items, maybe like cars or things that Martian warriors enjoy. You could be really goal setting to buy something that's important to you. I'm just getting a vibe about a cruise as well. The only thing here is how much money it's going to cost. But in the 9th house, that sort of fits, so a cruise, a holiday, taking a couple of weeks off, even if it's just a short break for the weekend, go on a 3-day cruise. As long as it's not, your name's not Gilligan, you'll be fine. But I can just see these beautiful waters and, cruising around on a white cruise liner. It's a great time to do it. If you and because the time's clicking on now, if you are going to do that, you better book now. Book before Mercury goes retrograde on the 29th for sure. Okay, so that's it, everyone. I hope this is useful. Let me know in the comments. And thank you very much. Hello, gorgeous Geminis. Rose Smith here again. I've got your January 23 horoscope. Your ruler is retrograde at the beginning of the year, but that's okay because it's going to turn direct very shortly. Okay, let's get on and see what the cards have to say and what your horoscope has to say. Okay, so I draw 2 cards as theme cards for the month for you, and the first card can be the first half of the month if you like, and the second card the second half of the month, or you can read them both together. Okay, first thing I see around this first card, it's like playing golf and the little ball goes into the hole. This means that it might take a couple of attempts, but you'll get there. Okay, whatever your plans and goals are, I can see the ball going into the hole. So it's a win for you. The card that comes up is the Knight of Swords here, flying on an eagle. Okay, maybe the eagle's looking for a place to land and has to have a couple of goes at it. A lot of thought going into whatever your plans are, but this is someone who's typically fairly brave and fairly skillful and will have a shot at doing things. They're not one for sitting back and not acting. So whatever opposition you meet, you are likely to be successful and freedom is yours. So, use your mind. Try and grow and step out. You have a lot of energy going into your 9th house, broadening your horizons. So we'll talk about that in a moment. Now let's look at the second half of the month and see what comes out. Okay, Gemini, it's funny, I'm seeing a ram's head, which could imply Capricorn. There's something to do with a Capricorn here, and it could just be determined like the ram. Don't just give up too easily. Let's see what card we get around that. Oh, okay, so that makes complete sense because it's like you're reaching the end of a cycle where you may have felt quite tired and burdened or even oppressed in some way. But there's a lot of growth here because there is a lot of green in this card. This mountain at the back suggests that it's been a bit of a challenge or a struggle, and you can see she's pulling this barrow along that's got all of these baseball bats, and so a lot of action has been taken on something that's relevant to you. But this is good because it's the end of a cycle, okay? So you can let go of whatever it is that's a burden to you and you can fly like the eagle. Okay, so you've had a lot of motivation. It just means that something is changing. You're about to start a new cycle, and you can use your fiery motivational energy for the new cycle, rather than being burdened so much. Okay, so I'm just going to make this a bit bigger for you so you can see, because we're going to talk about your horoscope now. Alrighty, so bear these two cards in mind because they often come up. Alrighty, the first thing to note is that there's this little green triangle here, which is two semi-sextiles and a sextile, and it's called the eagle eye pattern. It brings the energies of Neptune and Mercury together with Saturn, and all of these are sort of blended, relating to growing your life, okay, to broadening your horizons, to making your life bigger in some respect. You might be considering study, you might be looking at spirituality or philosophy, you might be thinking about travelling overseas, but there's been some restriction here for a while, something that's been holding you back, and you haven't been able to do it, thanks very much Saturn, which is quite conservative actually. And so with the additional energies of Mercury and Neptune, this is going to further you along, because you're going to get some insights and awareness and intuition about what you should do and how you can broaden your horizons even further. Okay, so that's good news. Even if Mercury here is retrograde, it's only retrograde till the 18th. And then it will begin to move forward in the sky again, giving you even more energy, okay? So when I say the 18th, that means that it's moving forward, but there's still a bit of energy that is retrograde, and it's gradually transitioning so that more and more energy is coming to you. And that's the same with Uranus, which is also retrograde to the 23rd, and Mars, which is also retrograde till the 12th. So we start off with a bit of a slow start in January, and gradually the planetary energies come more online as they move forward in the sky. And the nodes are also retrograde as well, which is quite usual. Nodes are often retrograde nearly half the time, in fact. The full moon is in Cancer here, giving a bit of a shake-up to your finances, your personal finances. It could also be possessions. Maybe you might think about selling some possessions that you don't need. And it can also be around the things that you value or what you think that you deserve. So there's some sort of turbulence there. However, the new moon is in Aquarius on the 21st, bringing a new start for you, which is fabulous, okay? And that is going to strengthen your spirituality. Again, any plans you have about travelling overseas or dealing with foreign cultures or people, or any study plans that you have. The sun is here in your 8th house. It will be moving into your 9th house to even add more energy, more insight and awareness, and this is going to bring a happier sort of attitude your way, because the sun's going to help you even more. So that's good news. Then we have Venus moving in to Aquarius as well here, and then into Pisces. So it's going to move into Aquarius on the 2nd, and then into Pisces on the 26th. So Venus will bring a lovely, free-flowing, smooth, kind, beautiful type of energy to how you want to grow your life, whatever way you choose to do it. And then it'll be going into your 10th house, which will be around career, if you have one, or your public life, or maybe even a relationship with a parent will improve, because Venus brings affection and warmth, and love. Love is very important to Venus. So, that's looking pretty good for you. Okay, so that's it, gorgeous Gemini, and I just want to wish you a very happy new year and all the prosperity and abundance that you can absolutely take. Bring it on in bucket loads. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye for now. Hello, compassionate Cancer. Well, this month, your rule of the moon is all about you, because it's telling us how you approach the world. It's telling us about your identity, who you really are, what your general temperament is like. And so there is a lot of emotion there, but there's also a lot of care and consideration for other people. So that's really foremost in your world this month. Let's get on and have a look at the board now and see what your horoscope has to say, but also what the cards have to say, because I like to draw 2 cards as theme cards for the month for you. Okay, for caring Cancerians, chop, chop, chop. I see a pair of scissors in your right hand. Okay, so in a rather masculine way, it is appropriate to chop some things out of your life. Perhaps you feel overwhelmed or burdened because you have too many things that you've been carrying, or maybe you're carrying too many people. I remember when I first started Absolute Soul Secrets, after about 12 months, I had this dream that I had hundreds of people that I was breastfeeding, and it was just too much. Okay, I'll never forget that. It was such an effort. Anyway, it was basically telling me to put on other people because I just couldn't manage. You too have to do the same. Not necessarily put on other people if you have a business, but you have to delegate more and drop those things that are not helping you. These 2 cards just came out. Pentacles, being rewarded appropriately for, the considerable work that you put into something, and so it's quite a good energy as far as spirituality goes, because it's fair and it's just you putting that work in and you're accomplishing things on the physical level. See this gold here, it's all about your solar plexus and attaining and being successful in your work. The other thing was the 8 of Wands. Fabulous, brilliant ideas flit across the landscape of your mind this month. So do write them down, because they will disappear very quickly. All right, I know that feeling. I hate that when I get some brilliant idea and I'm doing something and I forget to write it down. Okay, I'll just put those there, and then another 2. How about that? All right. The Wheel of Fortune turns. Nothing stays the same, and I didn't even get to close my eyes on this one. So there's always change and unfolding fate. And so, you just have to be ready for anything. But I'm basically optimistic, so I always think it's positive. It's going to take a little while to come through. The Hangman indicates that there's some patience that's required, but a new cycle will soon begin. Okay, they're both major arcana, so they're both very important. Okay, let's make this a bit bigger for you so you can see what's going to happen here in your horoscope. Just put that like that and that like that. So quite a busy, active time for you, caring Cancerians. The first thing I want to draw your attention to is this beautiful green little triangle, so expertly drawn by myself, where we've had some restriction in terms of the resources that you share with governments, corporations, or other people, and perhaps even with intimacy. Maybe there's been some sort of limitation there where you haven't been able to be as intimate with someone as you would like, or perhaps regarding money, because this is the house of investments. Perhaps, there's been some limitation around your investments, or you haven't been able to make the investments that you would wish. Okay, this could change because we have the energies of Mercury and Neptune now blending in with the master limiter, Saturn here. This will help Saturn to soften his stance a little bit. It doesn't mean that it's a walk in the park or that, you know, you don't need some structure. You do need structure, but there's a lot of intuition and insight coming to you. So now where there was no road or no path, now there is a path. It might be windy and not easy, but there is a path. And so this is all about how you can improve, increase intimacy in your life, and also improve your situation as far as those joint resources that you share with others. And if you're in Australia, for example, that might be Centrelink. You know, you might ring up Centrelink and they call them Services Australia or something. They keep changing their name. And you get a helpful person. It's very hard. Their systems are very difficult to deal with. You usually have to wait a long time. But there's some sort of softening around it, so it becomes easier and you see a way, a path that you can go by. Your ruler, the moon, is in Cancer this month here. As I mentioned before, this is all about how you approach the world, and you're probably perceived as being quite an emotional person, and you probably look at the world through your emotions, okay? You are not just your emotions, however, you are much more than your emotions, because you're an infinite, immortal being who lives forever, basically. You're a spirit. So emotions are only part of the picture, along with your mind, which is equally as important, and your physical body. So this house here does represent your physical body. So you could get, with the full moon there, could be a bit of a shake-up. Go outside and stand under the full moon, feel all the energies, and that will help fuel you to move forward. The month does begin with the nodes, Mars, Mercury, Uranus, all retrograde. So it could be that the year and the month starts off slowly, and then as the month proceeds, we have Mercury turning direct on the 18th. We have Uranus turning direct on the 23rd, and we have Mars turning direct on the 12th. Okay, Mars here in the 12th may give you more energy for exploring your subconscious, for feeling your feelings, for getting ahead in a spiritual way, and to move forward a little bit with Uranus here in your house of hopes and dreams. You may modify your hopes and dreams, or there could be some surprising outcome for something that you've hoped for a while. And with Mercury here in your 7th house of relationships, important and committed relationships and legalities, when it starts moving forward, then you'll find the energy for communications, for travel, for ideas, brilliant flashes of insight improves, and you'll be able to plug into that and really have some insight about, you know, how you can improve your life. The sun moves into Aquarius on the 20th here, bringing insight, awareness and happiness around the resources that you share with others, and also your intimate life. So the word I've said a lot while I've been saying this is the word insight. So it's a far more insightful time for you. Venus also is very busy because it's going from this house here of committed relationships into the 8th house here of shared resources, and it also looks after finances. So yeah, there could be some real movement there with finances and investments, or the things you share with others. And then it moves into your 9th house of the higher mind, where you might be looking at travel or study or spiritualities, ways that you can actually broaden your horizons and grow your life in some way. Alrighty, so that's it, caring Cancerians. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate that. Don't forget to go and check out your rising sign and also your moon as well. They all work together. They're all equally important. Okay, have a fabulous month. I'll see you later. Bye. Hello and welcome, lovely Leo. Thanks for joining me for your January 2023 horoscope. There's a lot happening in your house of significant relationships this month, so it's a bit, like a roller coaster, I guess, in some respects. Okay, so let's move on and have a look at what these cards have to tell us, and then we'll check out your horoscope in depth. Okay, so closing my eyes now, what do I see for lovely Leo? Okay, wow, there's a lot here. I see multiple ladders, which there's about 3 or 4 on top of each other, like sort of back to back. And that says that you're ascending in consciousness in quite a wide variety of areas of your life this month. Okay, let's see what comes out for card number 1, which can be the first half of the month if you like. 7 of Cups. This is someone who's reaching for attainment, for success, who wants to get ahead in the world. And you'll see the Cups here. A wide variety of areas of your life is basically what it stands for. There are a few worries in the background, but not to worry about the worries, because they can just blow away fairly easily. Sometimes this card is about also standing up for yourself and saying the word no, so it's about not in a negative way, but just setting your boundaries. It's because you want to succeed, you may need to say no to some things so that you can succeed in others. It's just a sort of logical type thing, really, isn't it? Okay, that's the first half of the month. Then we'll look at the second half, see what comes up for you. Lovely Leos. Okay, sideways. Okay, you're so busy that sometimes, even though that you are reaching for success and attainment, you might feel like it's a step sideways. And it only looks like that from the position that you're in. If you were looking at it from a big picture kind of viewpoint, then you'd see that you need to go sideways so then you can go up. Okay, that's how it works. Let's see. We'll go for that one there. It's the Knight of Wands. Okay, so don't rush too much. Wow, I just saw something weird. I saw that as 2 heads, a turtle with 2 heads. 2 heads are better than one. Even if you're moving slowly, sometimes it helps to talk to somebody who is non-judgmental and who cares about you, so that you can get another point of view. The Knight of Wands sometimes can indicate travel or maybe a change in residence, but it's not overly strong, as to you moving. It's a path that you're going down, but maybe there's some unknown elements to it. You might not be sure exactly where you're going or how it's going to end up, but you just know that you have to move forward. Sometimes travel, see these pyramids in the background, but usually they mean, rather than that, they usually mean these chakras opening up and more energy coming into your system. See, there's some growth and development here with these green leaves and some action to be taken. Alrighty, so we'll put that one there like that. Bear these 2 cards in mind, and I'll make this larger so that you can see what's going on. Alright, so that's the cards. Now we're going to look at your horoscope, and you'll see here that there's a pretty green triangle, otherwise known as an eagle eye pattern. And there may have been, over the last 2 years, no, not quite 2 years, probably 18 months, something like that, that there's been some limitation or restriction in your relationship here, with your important, significant relationships here with Saturn. Saturn's very conservative and doesn't like to change. So it's like, whilst you are moving forward, you're not moving forward at a great rate, because Saturn doesn't like to do that. So Saturn's going to slow things down, hence the tortoise here in this card. But in this pattern, you also have the energies of Neptune and also Mercury. Now, Mercury is retrograde until the 18th. I'll come to that in a moment. But then you'll find when it does turn direct that there's going to be even more energies, more energy coming to you. And you'll find that things will free up more regarding your important relationships, and the restrictions that were there seem to dissolve. They might still be there, but they'll be more flexible, put it that way. Your ruler, the sun, is moving into Aquarius as well, into this 7th house. So that's going to bring you a lot of insight and awareness, and perhaps even some happiness about your committed relationships. Also, if you have any legalities that are hanging over your head, you could be seeing it through a new point of view, where you're going to get new information that's going to help you a lot. Sometimes this house is known as the house of open enemies. That's a bit, of hyperbole there. I wouldn't go so far to say that, but it is about people that you don't get on with very well. Sometimes people that you know about, but with the sun moving there, that brings a sort of help to you in a way that you see things more clearly. Then we have the full moon moving into Cancer here, shaking up things in your subconscious. Life is very busy. Sometimes people don't want to deal with the subconscious, yet we're dealing with it all the time. We just don't know that we are. And unconscious things come up. So you might catch yourself noticing, when you say unconscious things, or you might catch yourself when you feel, you're feeling out of sorts and you don't know why you are. You're irritable, or you're sad, you're happy, whatever the feeling is. But you'll probably catch yourself feeling that, experiencing that, and that gives you a clue to what's going on deep down within. There's a new moon moving into Aquarius on the 21st, so that's the 6th that happens, the full moon in Cancer. Then there's a new moon moving into Aquarius here, bringing new beginnings around your significant relationships, or the people you don't get on with, or perhaps it can be legalities. So that's a brand new start. And there's something, it's like you're getting triggered or activated into putting something into place in a physical way. It's more external than the feelings that you could have with the full moon. At the beginning of the month, we have a lot of retrograding planets and the nodes. So we have Mercury retrograde until the 18th. We have Uranus retrograde until the 23rd, and we have Mars retrograde until the 12th, and the nodes. So it's like a slower start to the month and also to the year. And gradually, as those planets turn direct, then there's more and more energy coming your way. So I don't think a slow start is a bad thing at that time of year, because basically it's great to chill out and relax with your friends and just calm down a bit after everything that's happened. The other point to note is that Venus is going into Aquarius. Venus is very busy this month. It's moving from your everyday work area, your habits, your health. It's moving into this house of significant relationships, and then it's moving into Pisces, which is the house of shared resources, the house you share with someone else. It's also the house of intimacy. Venus there is beautiful. It really deepens your important relationships, or anything that you share intimate things with, intimate knowledge or energy with, and it just brings a lot of beauty and caring. This is also the house of investments, though, and Venus looks after money. And so you might find yourself looking at different investments, ways that you can invest your money, because she's going to give you an extra push to do it. You may find yourself drawn to beautiful type investments, and you may also be looking at things like real estate, or you may be looking at taxes, superannuation, or 401k if you're in the US. Okay, so that's it, lovely Leo. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, oh, I do appear to be stuck. Don't forget to check out your sun and moon sign as well. Have a fabulous month. Thank you. Bye for now. Hello and welcome, Vivacious Virgo. I've got your 2023 January horoscope ready. Okay, there's a ton of work pouring into your everyday life, your habits and routines, your work and your health. Let's go to the board now. We'll have a look at 2 theme cards for the month for you and then your horoscope. Okay, so closing my eyes now, what do I see? Okay, I'm on the bridge of a ship, and you're steering your ship of life, or through life I should say. It's there's a course correction coming up and it's moving slightly to the right, so probably in January you'll be looking more at logical and analytical thinking, working stuff out. The card that comes up is the Justice card. Justice is coming. Thank God for that. Okay, this gives you the ability to analyse and dissect and get right to the core of the matter and cut out anything extraneous that you don't actually need. You know, we worry about all those extra little bits and pieces that are really irrelevant or immaterial. And with that, then you can come to some sort of decision by weighing up the evidence in front of you. It's important to keep your feet on the ground so that you can remain practical, even though sometimes there are emotional things at play. There's an owl here on your shoulder, which is very important because it is whispering intuitions into your ear. So although, see how she's dressed in black, she doesn't have all the evidence, and you probably don't either, and she's blindfolded, she can listen to her intuition and psychic ability, because everybody's got some. So it's just a matter of finding that part of yourself. Where is it in you, so that you can use it to make the best decisions in life? And then take action. Once you've made the decision, weighed up everything and cut all the extraneous bits out, made that decision, then you can take action. Okay, this is often karmic justice as well. Spirit keeps count so you don't have to, and I've seen it so many times. So don't be concerned if you think somebody is going to get away with something. Don't be worried about that, because they never will. They have to account for it. Okay, let's look at the second half of the month now for you, Vivacious Virgo. What do I see? Yeah, wow, this is weird. I see it's like a cross coming up out of the ground, and then I realise it's actually the sword of truth, and I'm looking at the bottom here, the hilt, where you hold on, the hilt, and then the bottom of the blade, and it's coming up out of the ground. So the ability to actually make these decisions is coming to you. It'll be more clear cut for you, and even though it might look like a sacrifice initially to make this decision, then you'll find out that it's for the benefit of you. Okay, let's see what card we get. We get the Page of Pentacles. This indicates there's news coming about your possessions or perhaps your finances. And I also get the vibe that there's also something about joint resources here, some news, something that you share with either another person, a government agency, or maybe a corporation. And there's some news. I think it's positive news because I'm optimistic. The card doesn't actually say that, but I always feel like it's positive. There's a lot about it that you don't know. There is some information that you have. So you may have an inkling of what this news about money is, and then the action to be taken. So there were some worries in the background that you can see they're actually blowing away, and there's blue sky and a clear mind underneath. So that's good news. Okay, so they're your 2 cards for the month. Now let's make that a little bit bigger, because now we're going to go to the horoscope. Right. Okay. Now, first thing you'll notice here is that There's a green triangle. It's called an eagle eye pattern, and this brings insight and intuition, which fits in with this card here, the intuition from the owl. The energies of Neptune, the spiritual energies of Neptune, and the communicative energies and the intellect of Mercury are joining forces to add to Saturn, which is somewhat restrictive and often likes structure, and also is involved with time. And this is in your house of everyday work, your routines, your habits, and also your general health and well-being. So it might have felt somewhat restrictive, but now it's changing because there's more flexibility thanks to Saturn and Mercury. So their energies are all blending, and now whatever situation you've been in at work or with your routine or health, that's going to be more flexible. So that's good news. Now your ruler Mercury is actually retrograde here in your creative zone. It might, be a bit difficult to be creative, or maybe things feel a bit quieter on the creative or the romantic front, but it will be turning direct on the 18th and begin to move forward again. And then you'll find that the creative urge, you'll be able to express it in some way. Okay, you could also be talking more to children or perhaps to your inner child. It's in Capricorn, so there's likely to be some sort of physical result because Capricorn is an earth sign. Then we have the full moon is in Cancer on the 6th up here, affecting your hopes and dreams and also your friends, groups and connections. There could be some sort of turbulence there. You'll notice Lilith is 29 degrees 17, so she's right at the end of the house. She's only got another 13 minutes to go, and then she'll be into your 12th house, and so she's already blending with the 12th house energies of the subconscious now. And so there may have been some sort of wounding or difficult spot that happened with that, but soon that will go, and you'll just be left with the turbulence of this full moon. But often it indicates that you need privacy, and so this could be a time when you're not so interested in socializing or going out. Maybe you just want to stay home and maybe deal with women in your family or your closest friends who are women. The new moon is in Aquarius on the 21st of January here, and this is bringing a new beginning, a lot of new energy, and it's directed out into the world. So it's coming from your subconscious, but it's directed outwards. It's probably, if you are working, it's probably going into your work or your health. We have another point to note. You'll notice I've circled 5 planets and the nodes here, which were retrograde at the start of the year, and Mercury goes direct on the 18th, Uranus goes direct on the 23rd, and Mars goes direct on the 12th. And so it's a slow start to the year and to the month, but as the month proceeds, there's more and more energy coming into your life, and it's not like a switch that you throw off and on and say, oh well, Mercury retrograde's over or it's over on the 18th and now it's going direct, because there's still a little bit around for probably the next week. So it's called a shadow period. So that's the same for every planet. There's a shadow period before and after the dates that I give you. So Mercury here in your 5th house in Capricorn, bringing lots of communications and ideas for creativity, romance, and to do with children and just enjoying yourself. So things pick up after the 18th, slowly but surely. Some surprising aspects are possible, or when I say aspects, I mean surprising things, elements are possible in your 9th house, especially when Uranus turns direct. So you might do an unexpected trip, perhaps overseas, or maybe there's some study to do, or you're doing study of something of an unusual nature. So there's a fair bit of unpredictability and volatility with Uranus. And Mars there in your 10th house gives you a lot of energy when it goes direct as far as your career or your your reputation. Alrighty, the other thing to note is Venus is in Aquarius on the 2nd of January and then in Pisces on the 26th of January. And Venus here brings a lovely smooth flowing energy to your everyday life, including work and health. She also looks after money, she looks after beauty, and she loves love. So you can expect to find more affection, love and warmth in your everyday life. And then she moves into your 7th house, and so she will bring those beautiful qualities into your significant relationships, so things could improve there. If you don't have any significant relationships, sometimes it's legalities. You might get a lucky break regarding a legality. Or even if you have what's called open enemies, which are those people that you don't really get on with, things improve. So she always brings improvements to relationships. Alrighty, so that's it, everyone. I hope you find this useful. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to check out your Ascendant and your Moon sign as well. Okay, I'll catch you all later. Bye for now. Hello, I want to call you Lucky Libra for January 2023. I'm just about to do your horoscope. There's so much energy pouring into your house of creation, so that's really good. Romance could be on the cards if you're looking, and leisure and pleasure become more important in your life. Okay, let's get on with it and see. This is your horoscope, but we're going to look at the cards first and see what they have in store. So I like to draw 2 cards for the month, for the first and the second half of the month. Okay, closing my eyes. So the card for the first month. Now there's a big cowbell around your right wrist on a chain. It's stupid. Like, why do you need this bell? It's almost like a reminder of you to work, or you're reminding yourself of something, but it's a burden carrying this. The logic, I mean, I appreciate there might be some logic that it's a reminder of some description, but yeah, you don't need it. Drop it. It's going to fall off anyway. It's a big, well, it's silver coloured. I doubt it's silver. It's it's actually more like iron, but it's been painted silver or something like that. So it's quite heavy, and it's here on your right wrist. It's about being logical all the time. There's only sometimes it's best to be logical, like when you deal with money, for example. But feeling your way through life is every bit just as important. Let's see what card we get. The Chariot. This is fabulous for moving ahead and also for listening to your intuition. It's a very feminine energy, but she's not standing still. She's getting somewhere. She's taking the bull by the horns. See, there's the reins in her hands there. And this staff is like the staff of royalty, the staff of, and that's staff S-T-A-F-F, you know, like a pole. The staff of sovereignty, being sovereign. So I'm not talking about sovereign citizens here, because they're trapped by beliefs in another system, you know, in a conspiracy system, or, you know, some other system. Whereas your soul lives and exists well outside all of those other belief systems that other people tell you. When people tell you stuff, that's their opinion. Doesn't mean that it's right for you. But this is about surging forward into life. So that's really important. That's the first card. And the second card of the month for Lucky Libra. I don't usually call you, because I'm a Libra myself, you know that. But I don't usually refer to Librans as being lucky. So it's interesting. I see a plane taking off. It's just waggling its wings at me, and there's something about airspeed and wind. The wind is very, not turbulent's not the right word, but it's changeable. and so there's some volatility there in the atmosphere, in the outside atmosphere. So I just get you adjusting course, not in any major way. You're still on your path, but you're just making allowances for the volatility of the wind. The wind's all about changing your mind, but in the larger group, in the collective, we'll see that there will be a lot of changing of minds, but more than that, we're going to see that there's a lot of volatility generally, people doing odd and weird and unexpected things. Now, I also see here, it's like on mining, some miners are trapped deep down in the earth, and there's a rope coming down to rescue them. So I don't know if that's actual, like as in a prediction, or if that is symbolic for you rescuing some part of yourself. You haven't had the energy that energy that's been trapped down in your body. You haven't had the use of that energy. But interestingly enough, there's gold in the walls. So those guys, they're coming up, they're being rescued, they're going to bring some gold nuggets to you. So just look for nuggets of interesting energy or news that helps you in some way. The card that comes out is the Queen of Cups. This is fabulous for listening to your emotions. You'll see there she's seated on the edge between the shoreline and the actual ocean. So it's like getting the best of both worlds, so to speak. This is often like a warm and loving woman that you come across in your travels. She's got a lot of emotional depth. She's been through a lot in her life, so she's got a lot of experience, and she'll gladly help you out with that, give you some free advice, and she's in touch with her subconscious. See the shells here. She's seated on a shell and got a clam shell at the back. Those birds, those seagulls, they're into everything, aren't they, seagulls? We used to, in the old days, have fish and chips at the beach, you know, and you'd be sitting there and you get attacked by like 10 seagulls that would immediately fly down and try and nick your chips. So they're good at looking at the big picture, but they're also good at seeing the finer detail and then swooping in when they need to peck a chip or two. So I feel very happy about this card, actually, and I love blue and green together. The green of the heart chakra coming up into your throat, so you can be creative in the way that you express yourself the second half of January. Okay, so let's make this bigger, like that. And bear these two cards in mind because they're often relevant. Okay, so this is January horoscope. First thing to note is this pouring in of energy here into your creative sector, romantic sector, and this pretty little green triangle, which is called an eagle eye. It's using the energies of Mercury and Neptune, so spiritual communications. And this Saturn has been here for probably about 18 months, just roughly off the top of my head. It's usually like 2 years and 2 months. What's that? 26 months. And it's more than 2/3 of the way through. Yeah, whatever that works out. Say roughly 18, a bit less than that, maybe 16, 17 months or something. Anyway, so it's been restricting your ability to have fun in the sun, and you're probably missing that element of socializing and having fun and just having a life. And now there's an easing up. There's something that happens that means that all of a sudden, or gradually, not all of a sudden, but you'll realize all of a sudden that you can gradually have more and more freedom in your life. You can bring in more romance if that's what you desire. You can bring in more creativity, and with that comes abundance too, you know, and generally live closer to the world of the child. You may even have more to do with children. Children might start speaking to you when you're down doing shopping, if you do shopping, that is, or when you're out and about, or you might find that your family, there's more interaction with children in your family, or someone falls pregnant or something like that as well. So an easing up of restrictions in this area of your life. Something about timing. It's like you haven't had the time, but now there's going to be time. You'll make time for these important human things that we're supposed to do. Your rule of Venus goes into Aquarius as well here, and that's going to bring in a beautiful flowing, soft, gentle energy, which is very conducive for creativity, because Venus loves beautiful things, but she, more than that, she also loves love. Like, she loves love like crazy. And so it could bring more life into your creations, more love into your creations, or it could bring more love into your romantic life. You know, Venus in the 5th house is great for meeting potential partners, and it's great for meeting people generally, actually, you know. So it could be a lot more socializing going on. You might be very concerned about appearing beautiful, so you want beautiful clothes or beautiful hair or something like that when you meet people. The full moon is in Cancer on the 6th of January up here. And so there's a bit of turbulence perhaps in your career if you're working, or in your public life. Maybe that affects an authority figure like a parent. In the old days, they used to say it was the mother, but today astrologers tend to say a parent, perhaps the mother. And the moon there, being associated with the feminine, could bring even more energy relating to the mother. You do have, at 29 degrees 18 minutes, Cancer, you have Lilith. So there might be some energy around women, maybe your mother, or if there's multiple parents, like multiple marriages, it might be, you know, the second wife or the ex, or some, you know, configuration like that, where there's some sort of wounding or some sort of awkward relationship in the past. Okay, so just be aware of that. We also have the new moon in Aquarius on the 21st, adding more energy into your creative life and your romantic life. That brings a new beginning, a new start, and there's more energy going out into that area of your life. It's not just like you're thinking about it, it's more than that. It's like you're doing something about it. You're putting energy out into the ether about your creative life, your romance, your fun in the sun, socialising, and those sorts of things. At the beginning of January, the 1st of January, you'll notice here there's a number of things that were circled in red. I was just basically, should have put that first, that would have made sense because it was on the 1st. So we've got the nodes that are retrograde, which is fairly normal because they're retrograde nearly half the time. We've got Mercury, which is retrograde here, turning direct on the 18th. We've got Uranus, which is retrograde until the 23rd. And we've got Mars, which is retrograde until the 12th. So gradually they're all going to come off retrograde in January, and there's going to be more and more energy in your life for doing stuff. When Mars comes off here, you're going to probably want to grow your life. You might be looking at study, you might be looking at spirituality or philosophy, but how do you make your life bigger, basically? Maybe travel does that for you. Mars is going to give you a ton of energy to do that. Uranus is going to throw up some curly, unpredictable type things, maybe involving electricity or technology, to do with investments, or the things that you share with other people. To give you an example, and especially with Uranus retrograde and also Mercury retrograde, there could be some technological glitches, particularly if you're, say, dealing with money that you share with, say, Centrelink, or what do they call themselves, Services Australia, which they don't really serve Australia that well sometimes, I hear. Or perhaps there's technological, you know, glitches with insurance companies, or, you know, those big corporations that have your money, and or they, you know, you put in a claim, they give you the money back, that type of thing. Maybe even with your taxes. It's also to do with intimacy, because you share energy with another person at a deep level, and often they're very compelling sorts of emotions. There could be something surprising. It doesn't mean it's bad. It could be equally surprising, like a bolt out of the blue, and it could be good luck. Maybe you win some money or something like that. But yeah, as far as winnings go, you would need more than just that to like win lotto. There would have to be a lot of changes. Okay, then we have we have the Sun also going into Aquarius here, and that brings a lot of insight and awareness, and indeed happiness. You could be feeling so much better when you can create what you want, when you can feel romantic, even if another party isn't involved. It might just be feeling romantic just by yourself, perhaps, and when you can socialise and go out and have fun. Alrighty, so that's it, lucky Libra. Thank you so much for watching. Do check out your rising sign and also your moon sign. Have a fabulous month. Bye for now. Hello and welcome everybody. I'm Rose Smith from Absolute Soul Secrets, and I'm doing your sensational Scorpio 2023 January horoscope. You've got a ton of energy pouring into your home and family zone, okay? You may be thinking in January about ways that you can beautify your home or somehow improve it, make it more comfortable, that sort of thing. There's a lot happening, so let's get on with it. We'll go to the board. If you are new, subscribe and be alive and hit that notification bell right now. Okay, so first thing we do is pick 2 tarot cards as theme cards for the month for you, and we'll see what comes out. I'll close my eyes. What do I see for Scorpio? Okay, putting gloves on. Oh, right, cleaning up. Okay, this has got 2 meanings. It can mean clean up financially, which means you could win at something or get extra money somehow. Or you could be cleaning up your home because there is a lot happening here. Maybe you want to beautify your home, so you have to clean things up and reorganize things in your home. But you'll have lots of awareness and insight on how to do that. The card that comes up is the Knight of Cups. This is about being in touch with your emotions. It's also about having a good time at an appropriate time. So, you know, if you're working all the time, you know, sometimes you just got to relax a bit more. But it is about new beginnings, and it is in your emotional life. It's in touch with the subconscious, because he's riding a lobster here. This is a creature from the deep, okay? So going down, maybe he's having, you know, a bit to drink. That's fine. You know, call a halt at a reasonable time, of course. So some sort of invitation. He's got something in his hand. It's like an offering that's coming to you. So it could be an offering to do with money as well. Okay, but it's more about the emotional side of that. Okay, let's look at the second half of the month now for January for Scorpio. Okay, I see 2 shells, like clam shells. They're together like that, and they open up. You know, one's got notes in it. It's all about your money. The other side could have a pearl. I sort of get the sense of a pearl, so pearls of wisdom. Perhaps be careful what you say, but really, if you're wise, you don't even have to be careful, because it's just how you are. The appropriate things come out of your mouth. And then sometimes we have the other situation when the most inappropriate things come out. But look, they might seem inappropriate, but deep down we don't know what effect they're having on people. Like, you know, that might really have some effect on their psyche. Let's see what card comes out for you for the second half of the month. Strength. There's a koala, what am I talking about? A kookaburra laughing in the background as I've turned this card open. I don't know if you heard that. Strength and courage is being given to you from the universe. So don't worry. You may be concerned about your finances, although, you know, the only thing here is to do with investments and shared resources with other people, but I'll get to that in a moment. It could be finances, yes, or it might just be general life worries, because God knows today there is a lot to consider. Now let me make this a bit bigger for you, and then we'll be all able to see it a bit more easily. Okay, so we'll go like that. All right, bear those two cards in mind. Can't get them straight no matter what I do. That's not too bad though. All right, the first thing I want to talk about is this beautiful little triangle here in green called an eagle eye pattern. And this brings intuition and insight, especially from the planets Mercury and Neptune. And it brings their energy to touch Saturn here in your house of home and family. We've sat in there for probably the last 16 to 18 months or something like that. There's been some sort of restriction around your home life or with your family members. Perhaps your family members are away somewhere. They could be travelling, or they've moved to another place, or they're just not as close as they used to be. There's some sort of distance between you perhaps. But with these new energies coming in, the situation becomes a little bit more flexible, and the communications and the spiritual ties between you are likely to influence the situation. So if you are distant in some way, it could be that you get closer in some way. Maybe there's some newfangled technology, you start doing Zoom calls or something like that. The other thing to note is that at the beginning of the month, we've got the nodes, we've got Mercury here, which is tied up in this pattern, Uranus and Mars all retrograde, okay, all sort of withholding their energy from you. So it's like a slow start to the month and to the year, and gradually as the month proceeds, you get more and more energy. So Mercury will be going direct on the 18th. Then we have Mars on the 12th, and then we have Uranus on the 23rd. And there's a bit of a shadow period for each one, probably about a week for Mercury, maybe 10 days. So it's not like a switch that you just throw and then instantly you start getting really good communications. It's more gradual than that. But that energy of Mercury is going to help you in your communications, in your family and home zone. There is a full moon in Cancer on the 6th here as well. At home, privacy becomes more important, and so does the company of women, okay? A full moon, sorry, there, that's a new moon. A full moon, it still applies that privacy could become more important, or the company of women. But here in your 9th house, it's about growing your life and broadening your horizons somehow. There's so much out there in the world. You could have a bit of a shake-up, so that you start to think that you need to study, or you need to update your spiritual practices, or you want to go and find out about some new spiritual technique or a reading technique or something like that. You just want to grow and learn and develop yourself. So this little bit of a shake-up will be a help for you to decide exactly what you want to do about that. The new moon is in Aquarius here, which I started to talk about, and it brings a new beginning around your home and family. So maybe you're renovating or decorating, or somebody in your family is, but there's new beginnings there. Venus is also here in Aquarius on the 2nd, and then jumps over to Pisces on the 26th. So this brings an energy which likes beauty, it likes peace, and it wants to have affection. Venus wants to have affection in your home and make it a place of comfort and beauty, and maybe even romance or love, because Venus loves love. So we also have the sun in there on the 20th, bringing insight and awareness. and perhaps even some happiness. So new beginnings in your home and family, despite the restrictions that have been there in the past, will have some sort of flexibility or opening up in your family life. Alrighty, so that's it, Scorpio. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to check out your rising sign or your ascendant, if you want to be technically correct, and your moon sign as well. Check the timestamps below. Thank you, and I'm just wishing you also a very happy new year and all the best for 2023. Okay, bye for now. Hello and welcome to Savvy Sagittarius. I've got your January 23 horoscope ready. You have a lot of brilliant ideas coming to you this month, and also lots to do with communications and perhaps even study. Maybe you're thinking about doing some sort of formal or informal study. You could be investigating something, just checking things for your own, off your own bat, so to speak. There's just a lot happening. Let's have a look now at your astrology, and we'll go to the board. Okay, first thing we're going to do is pick 2 cards for you as theme cards for the month. We'll see what comes up. Okay, closing my eyes now for Savvy Sagittarius. Okay, there's a saying, something about you got to take your medicine. So this could be symbolic or it could be actual. If you are taking any supplements or actual medicine, maybe make a note, don't forget to take it. Sometimes we can all do that, forget. But take your medicine. It's like a situation that comes up that isn't that pleasant, but it's going to help you. There are silver linings here, and there's a beneficial outcome in the end. So just keep your mind on that task. The card that comes up is the Magician. All right, I keep getting in my mind also, be careful what you ask for. And this card comes up because it is about manifesting your reality. The Magician is a very potent card. It brings heaven down to earth. You see the infinity sign here. You are not just a human, you are an immortal, infinite being who lives forever, and you can manifest on this planet, basically. There's a certain degree of skill needed. You have to sort of control your thoughts and direct your thoughts to what you want, but it's more than that. It's about feeling the energy and using wisdom, because wisdom's very important. It doesn't matter how much knowledge you've got. If you don't have the wisdom, you could always, run down a side street or something instead of being on the main thoroughfare that you're supposed to be on. So this is all about harnessing energy into force and power for your benefit, but also the benefit of others. So it's a fabulous card. It's number 1 in the major arcana, so that's pretty significant. All about new beginnings. You can bring them into being. Okay, so that's the first half of the month. Now, the second half for Savvy Sagittarius in January. A stick of dynamite. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Okay, so it's almost like you've got more power, but you don't know that you do. Maybe you're still operating under previous paradigms in your mind, but something's been increased. The power that you have has been increased. So this is sort of going along with this Magician card. It's almost like you can manifest things more easily. So you really have to control your thinking and what comes out of your mouth especially. So let's see what we get. The Ace of Cups, new beginnings. It's all about new beginnings, isn't it? This brings a lot more energy into your system, especially your physical body and your emotions, okay? Because there's like mind-body connection. There's an intimate connection there. You could be feeling better in January, like you've got more energy. These living waters are flowing, and they'll be flowing through every cell of your body, so to speak. It's a really beneficial card. It often suggests that there's more beauty around you than what you know. Joy, love and peace are yours. But I always think good health. When I see these living waters, I always think there's a corresponding increase in energy or well-being connected to your physical body, and Spirit is handing you that gift. Okay, so there are your two cards for the month. Now I'm just going to make this bigger like that, and we're going to talk about your horoscope now. Okay. Alrighty, so the first thing you might notice is this nice little green triangle, which I'll come to in a moment. But the very first thing, at the beginning of the month, there are a lot of retrograding planets and the nodes, okay? January is a time when these planets will turn direct gradually across the month, and you might notice a sort of slow start to 2023 and to January, and then gradually there's more and more energy and you get more and more active and start doing stuff. Now the pretty little green triangle is called an eagle eye pattern. It's two semi-sextiles and a sextile basically. We don't hear much about this pattern and it doesn't come up all that often. Well, I don't think I've noticed it, but I don't think it's rare either. And basically it's the energies of Mercury and Neptune combining and blending with Saturn here in your third house. There may have been some restrictions over the last 16, 18 months in the way that you communicate or the ideas that you have, or you might just have felt a bit limited in some way. It could also be to do with distant family members, whether they're at a distance, a physical distance, or they're distant in their attitude and energy towards you, one or the other. It could also indicate study or the general sorts of research and stuff like that that you do on your own. It doesn't have to be a formalised course. But with these two planets now lending a hand here and blending with Saturn, there's an easing up of the restriction. If you felt limited in any way, that is sort of, it's more flexible now. It's not a hard and fast rule like it was before. So there's a way around this. It's called eagle eye pattern because it actually gives you more insight and awareness into a situation that you didn't have before. And when Mercury turns turns direct on the 18th, you're going to have even more energy flowing into the system. We have Uranus turning direct on the 23rd and Mars turning direct on the 12th. So, add all this in and, January is going to end up being quite a successful month where you have enough energy to actually manifest the things that you want. So that's very exciting. With Mercury here in Capricorn in your second house, there could be some money matters that need attention, and there's communications about those, or it could also be your possessions as well. With Uranus here in Taurus, again, Uranus and Taurus can relate to money, and this is your house of everyday work. So you might find that there's a change if you're working casually. For example, there's a change in your hours, or even if you're not working casually, there's a change in the work that you do or something like that. More money could come, but it's not distinctly suggesting that, but that is just one possibility. Mars here in your 7th house, which is Gemini, in fact, suggests that there's a lot of energy or activity around your committed relationships. If you have any legalities, also that, and anyone you don't get on with, just watch, because Mars sometimes can be a bit forceful or dominant, and you may, it can go two ways. You may experience that yourself, or you might find that your conversations, your words have got more power than you thought, and they're coming out of your mouth more powerful than what you intended. And that happens to me sometimes. It's like this, with Mars, it can come in and it can kick in so strong that you've said something and you didn't mean to say it with such vehemence or such force. So just watch for that. Okay, now the full moon is in Cancer here, giving a bit of turbulence to those resources that you share with another, either a person, a corporation, or a government, for example. So it could include things like loans and taxes, superannuation, 401k. It can also include things like intimacy. It's the energy that you share with somebody else. And so there's some sort of turbulence coming up from your subconscious around that. And you'll notice here that the South Node is in your 12th house here. That can suggest something to do with fateful karmic forces that, or your history, your past, or things that have gone on the way that you used to do things. And so it might be that this energy is coming up. This house here, Cancer, is actually ruled by the moon, so this could be quite strong. You've also got Lilith in there as well, and so there could be some sort of strong words or strong situation to do with women as well. However, there is a new moon in Aquarius here, bringing new beginnings to the way that you communicate, to your thoughts, your brilliant ideas, to your neighbourhood, any study you want to do, finding things out, sorting things out, that sort of thing, promotions, marketing. So, and it's likely to involve technology, or perhaps there's some sort of electrical activity, or maybe a humanitarian type aspect to it because it's in Aquarius. Venus is also in Aquarius on the 2nd here. It moves into Aquarius, and this brings a beautiful, smooth flowing, gracious, polite, peaceful sort of energy into your communications with other people, and especially your local area. You might be going down the town, chit-chatting with people, lots of socializing and that sort of thing, and this beautiful Venusian glow is upon you. It also, Venus then moves into your 4th house of home and family on the 26th, so this is Pisces. And it brings a beautiful energy, a peaceful sort of energy into your home. It could be that your home becomes your sanctum, your inner sanctum, and that you're now requiring some beautification of your home in some way. You could spend money on your home, or your garden perhaps, and with your family there's this peaceful, more peaceful energy and more affectionate, warm, loving kind of feeling as well. Then we have the sun going into Aquarius as well, bringing insight and awareness to your communications, and anything that you want to study, you'll understand and comprehend and get some sort of level of success. So that's it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you watching today, Savvy Sagittarius. Have a fabulous month, and Happy New Year to all. Don't forget to watch your moon and your ascendant sign as well. Bye for now. Hello and welcome, courageous Capricorns. I'm here with your January 2023 horoscope. It's all about the money, honey. There's a lot happening with your personal finances this month. And not only that, there could be something happening also with your possessions, or what you think you actually deserve, your deservability. So let's have a look now. It's very exciting. Okay, here's the board. First, we're going to pick 2 cards as theme cards for the month for you, courageous Capricorns. So the first one, I'll just close my eyes. Okay, this is like... what do you call it? I think it's called baseball, where with the bat and you hit the ball and the guy in white runs along like a duck or something. And it's like, I think they call it home run, where they run around the diamond plate. And it's like you're a king hitter. You're going to get stuff done this month, and there's achievements and there's success and there's crowds cheering and celebrating. The card that comes out for you is the King of Cups. Okay, this is a fabulous card actually, because this is usually like a mature masculine energy who is very generous, and there is a sense of celebration and hope and goodwill around this card. It's somebody who's got great compassion and understanding. It's, like I said, it's usually a male, but sometimes it's a woman, particularly if she's post-menopausal, and she could come along and help you in some way. These people that are, embodying the energy of this card have succeeded in their endeavours and found peace and contentment. And even though, they know a lot about what they've achieved on the physical level, it's all about the emotions, okay? King of Cups, a master of emotions. So it's because he feels them and he allows that energy to course through his veins. He doesn't stop or try to oppress or hinder his emotions. You'll notice here he's wearing indigo because this is to do with the third eye, and there's gold. So third eye is all about intuition, which fits in with your horoscope. I'll come to that in a moment. And then this gold around his neck, his throat. He speaks very high vibrational type energies in his communications, and so that's really beneficial. He's in touch with his subconscious. See the water here and the shells that he's sitting. He's got a shell here that he's sitting on and one at the back, and here is the sun, the source of all life, that is giving him insight and awareness as well, and happiness comes with that, and likely success as well. So that's really a terrific card. Now, the second card of the month for you, courageous Capricorn. I see all of these coins in a row, and they're like they're on a conveyor belt. This is like multiple changes that are coming into your life one after the other. Sometimes coins can indicate money as well, but it's about the change in the money, how you, in your monetary status and that type of thing, and how you actually deal with it. You do have a lot happening in your personal finance zone, so, it could affect your money in some way. All right, let's have a look and see what card we get. The card that comes out is the Moon. So this brings up a lot of intuition, a lot of turbulence sometimes when it's a full moon, and I will talk about the full moon here in your relationships as well. But it does also bring, things from your subconscious, and this can include your psychic gifts or your intuitions. It's also, though, whatever's down there, whether that be positive or negative. So if you've got fear or you're worried about something, if you're disillusioned with something, that could also come up. But the reason is because you see the wolf dog here, that indicates that there's the opportunity of, sorry, that's my dog barking. Somebody's just arrived. That's the opportunity of teaching somebody at a later time. So you learn by experience so that you can teach others. Alrighty, so that's your cards. Now I'm going to make this bigger like that so that you can see. Alrighty, first thing I want to talk about is this eagle eye pattern here, this lovely little green triangle of the two semi-sextiles and a sextile. This is the focal point here, Saturn, and then we have Mercury, and then we have Neptune over here. So their energies all blend together. So there may have been some limitations or restrictions around your personal finance recently, maybe the last 16-18 months, if you want a time, and now that's going to change because there's more flexibility with your finances, so that's good news. And this also brings, it's called eagle eye pattern because it also brings intuition into it, and insight and awareness. So you start to see solutions that you couldn't see before. So if you do have financial considerations or worries, you see with this energy here of the King of Cups and all of that intuition there that he has with that indigo colour, that's really good news, because there's a way out of any financial impairments. The other thing to note is that there's a lot of planets going that are already retrograde that start January and start 2023, including the nodes, including Mercury retrograde, which goes direct on the 18th. Then we have Uranus here in Taurus, and that goes direct on the 23rd, and then Mars goes direct on the 12th of January, and that's in Gemini. So with Mercury here, lots of communications about how you perceive the world and the message that you put out into the world. Remember, I was talking about the wolf dog here. You could be talking about your experiences and putting them out into the world, which will help educate other people in some way. Okay, you're like a bit of like a way shower with a light showing the way that other people can go. So that's what you're putting out into the world. Uranus here in your 5th house brings unusual or unpredictable elements to your creativity or perhaps romance, and things you might think that you know what you're doing, and then something, there's a surprising thing, and it's not what you expect in some way, but it could be positive or negative. Uranus itself doesn't sort of indicate what it's about. It's more about that rebellious spirit that comes up and the surprising and unusual. With Mars there in your 6th house of everyday work and health and what your routine is, this is going to give you a ton of energy just to carry out your daily things. So when it goes direct, you'll probably really feel it. The other things, the full moon here in Cancer in your house of important relationships could be a little bit turbulent, and here's the moon here, things coming up from your subconscious about those really important relationships, or maybe even legalities, or it's also the house of what's called open enemies, but that's a bit strong. It's more about instead of open enemies, they're people that you don't really get on with. You're not on the same page. So just watch that, because there could be turbulence around that. The new moon is in Aquarius on the 21st here, bringing new beginnings around your finances, what you think you deserve and the things that you value. So that's good news. Venus also goes into Aquarius here, bringing a lovely, gracious, sort of polite energy that's very smooth flowing around money, and particularly because Venus does look after money, she's interested in your personal finances. The thing about that, though, is that she loves beautiful things, so do what you don't overspend on beauty, whether that be on your physical body or perhaps even your home. You could overspend, especially because Jupiter's in there as well. So there's a lot going on with your home as well. It's expanding in some way, or maybe you're getting it organised, getting it how you want it to be. And then Venus goes into your 3rd house here, which is Pisces, and there's likely to be some level of intuition in your communications and in your thoughts. Okay, so I was talking about intuition here, but it also does connect with the moon card as well. The sun moves into Aquarius here on the 20th, bringing insight and awareness, and also happiness, a feeling of success around your personal finances and what you think you deserve in life. Alrighty, so that's it. I hope this is useful for you. Thanks so much for listening, and don't forget to look at your moon sign and also your ascendant. Wishing you a very happy 2023, and may all good things come your way. Okay, I'll see you all again soon. Bye for now. Thanks so much for watching. Please visit my website absolutesoulsecrets.com for all things spiritual. Have a lovely day. Hello and welcome, awesome Aquarius. There's a lot happening this month. Your ruler Uranus is turning direct, so that's really good news. There's many planets going into your sign as well, so I'll talk about that shortly after I do the cards. So let's get on and look at the board now. We're going to pick 2 cards as theme cards for the month for you. And then we'll do your horoscope. Okay, so awesome Aquarius. Okay, I see a telephone, the old-fashioned type, not a mobile or cell phone, but a corded phone, and it just basically saying lots of messages coming in to attend to. You do have Jupiter here in Aries in your 3rd house, so this basically does point to an expansion of communications. But let's see what the cards have to say. And that'll be especially after Mercury turns direct on the 18th. I'll talk about that too. All right, that one, lucky one. Knight of Cups. Okay, it's great time for going out and socializing, but as you're socializing, it's also about getting in touch with, whoa, things falling all over the place here, getting in touch with your subconscious. I moved my board and I obviously didn't put it in the right place, did I? Not to worry. And so this is actually, great for this time of year because the Knight of Cups, at Christmas time and New Year's, there's plenty of opportunity for invitations to new beginnings. That's what this is all about. Okay, that's the first card. And the second card, closing my eyes now for you. What do I see? Oh, I see something, but I don't know how to. Oh, okay, it's a teaspoon. What's that? A spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. Okay, so put some sweetness back into your life. Yeah, maybe watch the white stuff. But yeah, sweetness is a good thing. And we do have Venus jumping across a number of houses. So it's going from the 12th to your sign and then into Pisces. So that will help bring sweetness into your life. Now, the card that comes up is the Wheel of Fortune, just basically saying that change is inevitable, everything changes, but I'm usually optimistic, so I always think it's a positive change, but it is a bit like that probably underscores the importance of Venus moving from the 12th to the 1st to the 2nd. The whole wheel is moving. So that's a major arcana, so just bear that in mind, nothing stays the same. Alrighty, so I'm just going to make this a bit bigger and that'll help you see. And here are your cards here, like that. Okay, first thing to note is that we do have a lot of retrograding planets here, and they will be turning direct in January. So it could seem like at the beginning of January, it could seem like quite a slow start. And then gradually as the month proceeds, things get busier and busier as more energy comes into you, basically, into your life, into you. The next thing is, going on from that, I should say that we have the nodes that are retrograde here in your 10th house along this axis of 10th and 4th houses. So this is your home and family versus your career or perhaps a parent or an authority figure. So these could come up as matters for discussion or occupy your focus this month as well. Then we have Mercury in the 12th turning direct on the 18th, and that will help you with your spiritual life because you're likely to pick up more messages coming in from Mercury. We have Uranus here in your house of home and family, turning direct on the 23rd. There could be some surprising or unpredictable things that happen around your family or your home. Doesn't mean that it's negative necessarily. Somebody might win a vast fortune, or because sometimes it can be positive. But not necessarily. It's like something out of the blue that you didn't expect to affect your home or family. Mars also turning direct on the 12th. Here in your creativity zone, your romantic life, your leisure and pleasure. And so that fits in with this card here, because this is very much about leisure and pleasure, going out and enjoying yourself. So after the 12th, you'll probably be full of energy for going out and having a fun time. Okay, the next thing to note is this little green triangle here, 2 semisextiles and a sextile, called an eagle eye pattern. It brings a lot of insight and intuition into your life, especially regarding the way that you view the world, how you present to the world, your identity, your appearance. But there's been some sort of restriction around that for the last 18 months or so, and perhaps you haven't had the confidence, or there's been something underneath that's been restricting the way that you present yourself to the world. Maybe you don't appear the way you want to appear, or it could be any number of things, but it's your relationship with the external world and how you present yourself, basically. But that's changing, because with this lovely little green triangle, the energies of Mercury and also Neptune are now feeding into the focal point of Saturn here. Saturn is very traditional and conservative and has been influencing your ideas and your beliefs, particularly about yourself. And so now that's not as hard and fast as it used to be. With Mercury and Neptune, there's more of a spiritual vibe, and it's more fluid or more flexible. And so you might find just subtle differences in the way that you think about yourself, and the things that you believe about yourself. There's more flexibility there, so that's a good thing. The full moon is in Cancer on the 6th here, and this is to do with your everyday routine, your work, and your health and well-being, perhaps. There could be some sort of shake-up here. The moon in Cancer is quite emotional, because it's the moon actually rules Cancer, so there's bound to be emotional energies coming up around your work or to do with your health. However, we do have the new moon in Aquarius on the 21st, and that's going to bring a more detached sort of viewpoint. It's going to look at the situation logically and not get too caught up in emotions, and it could be a good thing. Then you've got the balance of both worlds, Cancer and Aquarius, different energies all together. An air sign, Aquarius, and a water sign, the moon, so in Cancer there. So the other thing to note is Venus is busy jumping from the 12th to the 1st to the second houses. So it goes into the first on the 2nd of January, and it's going to bring a beautiful, smooth, gracious, peaceful energy into the messages you have to share with the world, and how you present yourself to the world, and your perception of the world, and how you put yourself out there. Venus smooths everything over and makes things beautiful. It's also your appearance, your identity, your body. Maybe you're interested in doing something to make yourself more beautiful physically as well. And then going into the second house in Pisces there, one of the jobs that Venus has is to look after finances. So Venus in the second house can be quite useful because she's going to tell you all about your money. But the downside of that is she does like to spend money, so she can be influential in getting you to overspend. So do watch that. Be careful with investments. Be careful with the things that you buy to make yourself more beautiful, or you might find you're paying out more money than what you would like. Okay, and then we have the sun also going into Aquarius here, bringing a lot of insight and awareness. You become more aware of yourself, and you use yourself as the terms of reference. So you're thinking, it's a good thing. It's not about selfishness. It's about being full of yourself in a good way, because it's after you experience the totality of your being and yourself, then you're in a better position to relate to other people. So I see it as beneficial. All right, Aquarius, so that's it for January. Thank you so much for watching this. Don't forget to check out your moon sign and also your ascendant. Have a fabulous new year, and I wish you all the very best for 2023. I'll see you all again soon. Bye for now. Hello, passionate Pisces. Well, you're going to have a very spiritual month this month in January. You may have felt a little bit restricted the last 16, 18 months in your spiritual pursuits, but we have a lovely little pattern, an astrological pattern forming that's going to really help you. So let's move on to the board. We're going to pick 2 tarot cards as theme cards for you this month, and see what they have to say. They're usually working quite well with the horoscope. So I've already pre-shuffled them, but I'll give them a light shuffling again. Okay, the first thing I see while I'm doing this, it's like a parchment that's actually sealed at the back with wax. You know how they used to do in the old days. And so this could be an invitation, but it could also contain some very valuable knowledge. I actually seen like an iron on the actual stamp with the wax, and there's this sort of heating element thing that keeps the wax warm, and it also could indicate that some creases in your life are going to be ironed out, ironing out the creases. Okay, so the card that comes up is, we've got how many? 3 there. Don't usually read 3. Queen of Swords, that's your head, chopping your head off. Basically, maybe you've been overthinking and you haven't been able to get into your subconscious or understand your subconscious as much because your thinking is blocking you. The Hierophant, so much knowledge down there, it's crazy, but maybe you've been sitting on your knowledge and not doing anything with it. And then the Ace of Pentacles, a brand new start for you, and probably one that will pay quite handsomely. Even if you had worries in the background, you're going through a portal of initiation with blue sky on the other side, which cleans up your thinking. You can see the grey clouds there, and then you can see the clearing of the grey clouds and the blue sky there. Don't know if you can see it, but anyway, it is. So they all sort of, the 3 work in together, even though I don't normally read 3. Okay, so that's a major arcana, the Hierophant, but you have got new beginnings around your thinking, so that is really good news. Okay, now the second half of the month for you, passionate Pisces, what do I see? I see the world. I see a globe, and it's just spinning around. It's on a wooden frame, and the globe is just spinning. It's basically saying the world is your oyster. Once you get through this sort of current crop of tests, if you like, that upstairs has set you, you'll be much more free in many respects. So you might even do some travelling or look at something to do with overseas. You do have your South Node there, so it mightn't happen straight away because it's retrograde, but this is something to contemplate. Okay, the card that comes up is the Eight of Cups, moving away from a difficult situation at some point. And you see the green there, that indicates a lot of growth and development. So the difficult situation would have involved you emotionally, and now you don't have to sort of get emotionally entangled in any sort of mess. You can just move on. We also have the new moon here. See, it's just coming off the new moon and the glint of the sunlight coming through, or the moonlight, if you like, the sun shining on the moon. And so this is really good news too. Okay, so that's your second card. Now I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, like that, so you can see what is happening, perhaps. Alright, can't get all these cards in, but anyway, you get the general gist. Alrighty, so I mentioned before about this lovely little pattern here, the eagle eye pattern. Saturn is here in your 12th house, which is Aquarius, and it's been restricting or limiting you in some way, but now we have the energies of Neptune and also Mercury, the god, messenger god Mercury, that are now influencing Saturn. So this is going to bring a lot more flexibility and room to move, while you still need some structure in how you're going to flow with your spiritual life. This flexibility is not like before, where it was more hard and fast rules, or it was harder to manage, you know. So this is really good news. This pattern, eagle eye pattern, it's about intuition and it's about insight and awareness, so you can see what's going on down in your subconscious, which is fabulous news. The full moon is in Cancer, here in your 5th house of creativity and also romance, and there could be some sort of shake-up going on there with the full moon. A lot more energy that is coming up, emotional energy, and Cancer is actually ruled by the moon, so you may find that it brings up extra amount of feelings, very deep feelings. Could involve women as well, and perhaps it's time for some privacy or to spend some time at home. It's also not only romance and creativity, but it's leisure and pleasure and living closer to the world of the child. You do have the new moon in Aquarius here, bringing a lovely new beginning to your spiritual section, your spiritual house, the house of the divine, the house of the goddess, and you know, it's a bit hard to explain what goes on in the 12th house because it's very experiential and it's sort of different for different people, but new beginnings there. The thing to note is that at the beginning of the month we have a lot of planets that are retrograde and the nodes as well. So we have Mercury retrograde until the 18th. We have Uranus retrograde until the 23rd, and Mars retrograde until the 12th. Now, we could start the year much more slowly than we normally would because of the sheer number of retrograding planets, but gradually as they come online, you'll get more and more energy as the month proceeds. All planets go through a thing called shadow period, so when they're going into retrograde, you may feel the retrograde shadow for a week or 10 days or something before they actually turn retrograde, and then the same thing after they turn direct. When they've finished retrograding and they're turning direct, then you might have a shadow period. It's different for different planets, but for Mercury it's generally about a week or 10 days. So it's not like a switch that you throw on and off type of thing. It's a very gradual process. We have Venus very busy, jumping from the 11th to the 12th to the 1st house, which it's going to bring in a lot of beautiful sort of energies out there in your 12th house. You might become aware of your dreams. Sometimes Venus there can mean that you're attracted to somebody but they're not actually available to you. So it's like it's in your subconscious and it's deep going on. There's a spiritual connection with this person, but it's hard to have an actual physical relationship with them, or because they're not available to you fully in some way. But it can bring lovely dreams, and Venus is in love with love and all of that sort of thing. Sometimes it can mean that somebody that you know needs you quite a lot. It might be like an elderly parent who is in an old age facility, or maybe a partner who is disabled in some way, or somebody needs you and you have to help them, but you're probably not going to get any recompense out of it other than knowing that you're doing the right thing. So it will go into the 12th house on the 2nd, and then it will go into Pisces, your sign, on the 26th. And this is all about how you approach the world, the perception that people get when they meet you. It's your physical body. It's also your identity and your appearance. And with Venus there, you may decide to upgrade your appearance because you want to be more in alignment with who you really are, and Venus will influence you to buy beautiful clothes, makeup, or just do things that are beautiful, and to make yourself beautiful, even if it's going outside and picking a flower and putting it in your hair, because it doesn't need to be expensive. Although Venus does like expensive things, she does encourage you to spend money on yourself, which is not a bad thing if you do it in balance, of course. And Neptune's there, so pretty soon she will catch up to Neptune, and then you'll have a very beautiful spiritual energy there, and you'll be radiating that, and people will probably notice. Sun is also goes into Aquarius here, bringing a lot of insight and awareness around your dreams, your visions, and generally the stuff that goes on down deep underneath the iceberg of your subconscious. With an iceberg, you have the top, and it's like 1/8, and there's 7/8 under the water. That type of analogy fits here. Alrighty, so that's it, Passionate Pisces. I hope this is useful to you. Thank you so much for watching, and I just want to wish you a very happy new year and all the very best for 2023. May you be blessed with abundant spirituality and all the things that you desire. Don't forget to check out your your moon sign and your ascendant as well. I'll see you all again soon. Thanks and bye for now.